Assetto Corsa is now an almost 7-year-old game, yet somehow it's remained incredibly popular, with more active players than Project Cars 2, 3 and even its successor, Assetto Corsa Competizione, combined. In this review, we'll take a look at all the elements of this game, from those aimed at casual players to those for people looking to use this as their next sim, whether that be on a console or PC. And this video has been sponsored by Trak Racer and their sim racing cockpits. Find out more later on. Now, if you're not already aware, Assetto Corsa was designed from the ground up to be a racing simulator, which affects the game in a few main ways. For starters, you get an incredibly realistic driving experience with highly accurate car handling and physics. All the tiniest details from tyre pressure, compound and temperature are accounted for in real time while you're driving, making all of the 178 official cars a realistic and fun challenge to master. This all translates to a game that is seriously good on a force feedback wheel, because while it can be played on a controller, it's more aimed towards the more serious player looking for realism, but more on that later. All the cars are accurate and stay true to their real life counterparts in their three main categories: the models, sounds and handling. Now, while I did say that there are 178 cars, many of these are part of the official DLCs that the game's had. Don't forget, it's almost 7 years old. We've got everything from relatively modern F1 cars to more sports and supercars thanks to the various packs, and while they aren't free, they are now incredibly cheap. Post-launch updates have also given us a new track, the Red Bull Ring, and talking about tracks, this is another big strong point for the game. All circuits are laser scanned, so similarly to the cars, stay incredibly true to their real life counterparts. The best thing about the tracks though is actually the variety. With a simulator like this, you may expect just the usual like Monza and Spa, however Assetto Corsa brings a bit more than this. Included within the base game, as well as the expected ones, is a drift track and multiple road tracks that I'd go as far to say even feel a bit open world-esque. This is a bit of a game changer because no longer is Assetto Corsa just for those who want to blast a GT3 car around Monza, as it can also appeal to the more casual player or someone who wants to drift, and this is only the start if you're on PC, but we'll get to that very soon. The drifting is very good, by the way. There are dedicated cars for it included in the base game, which is really nice to see, and you still get that amazing car handling and physics, so it's a really realistic experience. This game's pretty extensive car tuning also adds an extra layer of depth by allowing you to adjust your cars for the perfect lap time or to make them easier to drift, and to be clear, it's fine adjustments like tyre pressure and rear wing angle, not engine swapping. Another huge reason for the ongoing success of Assetto Corsa is the online multiplayer. As I said at the start, it has a monthly player count that's many times that of most comparable simulators. But why? Its online is actually a bit of an odd one. There's nothing really special about it. There's no algorithm giving drivers ratings on performance or sportsmanship, and nor is there any automatic matchmaking. Instead, we've got a thick list of user-created servers, and this is actually something that I've complained about in my reviews of other games such as Project Cars 2. With Assetto Corsa, however, the player base is so good that this system actually works really quite well. There's always a choice of well-populated lobbies, and thanks to the track variety, there's good lobbies for racing, but for drifting and also casual driving around the road tracks too. The PC servers are definitely more populated and also more geared towards typical circuit racing, however even console servers aren't bad, which is pretty amazing for a 7-year-old game. Due to the lack of any driver racing systems though, if you are looking to competitively sim race online, then Assetto Corsa isn't the best. That isn't to say that you can't find really good racing though, as you can always go through a Discord community to find leagues and events, which there are a lot of. Now before we move on, this video has been kindly sponsored by Trak Racer, who make racing cockpits and seats. They sent me their TR160 rig to try out, and it's completely transformed my sim racing experience. Before using this rig, I didn't know the importance of having a really good cockpit, but now I realise just how much can be gained from it. Straight away, I was far more consistent and even a bit faster because the cockpit lets you get the most out of load cell pedals. It's also way more comfortable and 1000 times more adjustable than what I had before, which makes a world of difference in itself. Trak Racer offer a range of rigs from more budget and space-friendly wheel stands all the way up to their high-end super rigid simulators. All their rigs have massive compatibility with different configs available for different hardware, so whatever wheel and pedals you have, they've got you covered. Trak Racer have a heavy focus on quality that really does show through the performance of their products, and they also guarantee a 5-year warranty, more than double most other brands. So if you want to get yourself one hell of a setup upgrade, then please follow the link down in the description. So now let's take a look at the offline modes, because to give the developers some credit, the choice of stuff to do has stayed pretty compelling with lots of content. First of all, we have the career mode, where you work your way up the ranks in 27 miniseries. Each series consists of 5 to 7 events in one specific car, starting in above 500s and working all the way up to Formula 1. It's a pretty basic mode, but there's a decent sense of progression and reward as you get to faster and faster cars. There's also a small bit of narrative along each event too. It's only a small paragraph of text, but it gives some introduction and background, which makes the races feel a bit more meaningful. There is also a bit of variety with a mixture of straight up races and also time trials with target times. Alongside the career mode, we also have a special events mode, which does exactly what it says on the tin, with some fun presets to try out, everything from races and drift events to time attacks. There's also a championship mode, which, you guessed it, allows you to make a championship. You can choose the tracks, cars, session format, and even the way the points are allocated. This is an offline mode, but if you work out what AI difficulty is right for you, it can be a lot of fun. The AI, by the way, has held up incredibly well. In fact, if you were to put Assetto Corsa's AI into ACC or Gran Turismo, I probably wouldn't notice. In fact, it's possibly better than the Gran Turismo one. The AI cars can race really quite hard and do it pretty cleanly, with a good balance of being predictable enough to avoid frequent collisions, but creative enough to make the racing fun. As well as those offline options, there are of course the usual practice, hot lap and quick race modes. You can also set up a race weekend, which gives you the practice, then qualifying, then race format. While you can drift in a practice session or online lobby, there is also a dedicated mode for it, which awards you points based on your drifts while also being up against a timer. A pretty fun way to do it. Now onto graphics, and this is where we start to see some big differences between the PC and console versions of the game. On consoles, the graphics really aren't great, with textures and detail just miles behind modern competition. Modern competition isn't really a fair comparison though, as this is such an old game, but also its graphics were never a big focus, as it was designed to be a sim, unlike some of the newer games I may instinctively compare it to. On PC though, graphics are a very different story, thanks to mods. The modding community for Assetto Corsa is absolutely incredible, and definitely one of the reasons for its ongoing success. In short, if you're on PC, then you can drive any car around pretty much any track, because there are quite literally tens of thousands of mods, many of which are made by proper companies and teams of people who really know what they're doing. This means that some of these mods are up to, or maybe even above, the already insane quality standard of the game's official content. Mods don't end at cars and tracks though, as you can completely overhaul the game's graphics, which is how they are so much better on PC, because it gets to a point that it's completely unrecognisable from stock form. Most of the gameplay you've seen here is relatively lightly modded in terms of graphics to keep my frames up, but here's some clips of what it can look like from the channel's SimRacing 604, link in description. And to quickly go back to the tracks, modding allows you to not only add other tracks, but even entire open world like maps. Some of them are absolutely huge, with tens of miles of roads to drive. Pair that with some graphics and weather mods and you've got a very different game on your hands. Not quite Forza Horizon, but at least the physics will be a damn lot better. The point that I'm trying to make though is that on PC, Assetto Corsa becomes whatever you want it to be. Whether you want to cruise around an open world or race really seriously, you can. In fact, if you want to spend a bit of money, you can buy an F1 mod that is pretty much as close as you'll get to the real thing at a consumer level. On PC, you can also say goodbye to the very dated UI that you'll sadly be stuck with on console, as instead you can use Content Manager, a free UI and mod manager that allows you to very easily drag and drop files to add new cars and tracks to the game. Really does make it a lot easier. Another point worth a mention is the VR support. Sadly, this is only for PC players, but if you have a VR headset, then Assetto Corsa will run it really well. The fact that you have access to all these thousands of mods also means that Assetto Corsa suddenly becomes one of the most complete, if not the most complete, VR driving experience on the market, and this is 100% a reason to buy if you have something like an Oculus Rift or similar. The final factor driving Assetto Corsa's popularity is actually its price. Thanks to possibly the biggest advantage of a game being old, it is seriously cheap, and periodically goes down to just $6.99 on the PlayStation Store, and that's the Ultimate Edition. Speaking of that Ultimate Edition, it is definitely worth it, especially if you're on console. It comes with all the DLC stuff, which as I mentioned earlier, is quite a lot of content. If you're on PC, it's not as crucial as you can mod a lot of stuff in, but all of the DLC content is very good quality, so pick it up if it's not much more expensive. Overall, Assetto Corsa really has a lot to offer. Its official content is plentiful enough thanks to the DLCs, and if you're on PC, then modding really allows you to take this to the next level. There's definitely something for everyone, whether that be hardcore racing, drifting, casual driving, or one of the most complete VR experiences that you can get. The fact that it's so cheap is only another reason to buy, so I can honestly recommend this game to pretty much everyone, especially if you have a force feedback wheel. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you have enjoyed it or found it useful, then a like or even a sub would be absolutely amazing. But that's everything, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.